Let's learn about quota limits. So the idea is that you have all these services, but there are guardrails, so to speak, in here to prevent you from launching too many resources. This could be so that you're not exhausting resources for other customers, or let's say a malicious actor gets in your account. They can't spin up really expensive things, or they have a limit to how much they're utilizing. So you do get some defaults, but if you need to increase them, you can do a service quota increase. But I'm going to just type in quota up here and try to spell it correctly. I'm dyslexic, so I often get it wrong. I'm going to go to all quotas. And on the left-hand side, we're under IAM and admin. And you can see over here, we have some limits. Now, I actually don't have a virtual machine spun up, but right now it seems to think that I do, or it's just suggesting that this is the general usage of current usage patterns. So what would happen if we spun up more? So maybe we can launch five virtual machines and see what that looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to virtual machines. I'm going to create a new virtual machine. And you know what? This might be a little bit faster if we use Cloud Shell. Okay, because it's a lot of work to type all this stuff through here. And so I'm looking here, and yeah, I do want E2, but I might want it to be the smallest one. So we have, I don't know why they don't do this in order, but E2 micro. So what I'm going to do is go here, and actually we're doing this earlier. You can type this up if you don't have it. But here we have G Cloud Compute instances, and I'm just going to reduce the font a little bit so it's a little bit easier to work with. Now, obviously it could be harder for you to see, but hopefully it's not too bad. So what I'm going to do is say, we'll just say VM1, okay? And then here we're going to swap this out from E2 medium to E2, I think they said it was micro. Scroll down there and take a look. It is. And then you can choose whatever zone you want. I've used Central 1A from before. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Okay. So that is going to, or should, initially create a VM called 1. It doesn't take too long, so we'll just wait a little bit here, okay? And that was really, really fast, so that was less than a minute. I'm going to go ahead and hit up, and we're going to switch this out to 2. Okay. So now we are creating our second virtual machine. And we'll give that a moment to create. So that is now created. And what I want to do is go back to my quotas and service limits, or whatever you want to call them. We're going to give this a nice hard refresh. Let's see if that value updates. So here it says Compute Engine API, current usage 1. Okay. And so I was hoping that this would be based on amount of compute engines launched. Well, also there's region-specific stuff here too, right? So maybe it is in here. I just got to go find it. Just give me a moment, okay? Also, sorry, something I should have been paying attention to. This says networks up here, right? So it's the type of thing that's, I don't know why I wasn't paying attention to that. So let's try to find the instance. And this actually kind of makes sense because we obviously have a network set up. So that makes sense there. Just give me a moment, okay? All right, so what we can do is we can go to here on the filter, and then we have name. I'm just going to start typing instances and see if we can find something that resembles what we're looking for. And so somewhere in here, here it is, VM instances. And so here it shows the current usage 2. And so if we wanted to exceed that amount, we'd have to launch 24. It'd be interesting to see what happens if we try to exceed that. So I might be interested in trying to make a Terraform template that we can launch here. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to GitHub, and I'm going to make a new, you don't have to do this, but you can get the code from here. That's what I'm doing. I'm setting up a new code base for us folks here, unless I already have one. And I'm just going to check and see if I already have one or not, because I might. I do not. So let's go ahead and make our new GCP examples repo. So this is where I'm going to be putting all the code examples. So if you want to follow along, it'll make life a lot easier. I'm going to go ahead and add the README, and we're going to go ahead and create the repo. You're not doing this. I'm doing this so that you have access to these files. I'm going to go ahead and hit a period on the keyboard here. Okay. And so I want to launch up 24 instances. You might not want to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and just say quotas. And in here, I want to have a Terraform script that will launch 24 instances. So I'm going to go over to anything. We can go over to Claude. Use whatever you like. I'll use Claude here today. I'm going to say I am using GCP and using Terraform I would like to deploy 24 instances of E2 micros in US Central 1 E or A or whatever it was. And we'll go ahead and see if it can write that up for us. Because I want to see what happens if we hit the limit. Like, what are we going to see? Okay, and so we are getting some code here. Good. The GCP project ID, yep. Number of instances. And again, just carefully looking at the configuration here. I think this is fine. And here it has the account. We don't even need that, but it's nice that it's doing that if it wants to do a startup script here. If you enable external IPs, we don't really care about external IPs. We just want this to work. But I'm going to go ahead and copy the contents of this. Okay, we'll go over to here, and I'm going to make a new file called main.tf. We're going to paste that in. We don't actually have any compute attached here, so this is going to be a bit of a problem. I'm just going to commit this, so work in progress of quota example. And what I'm going to do, and it's up to you. You can clone this repo locally. You can use Gitpod, GitHub Codespaces. I'm going to use GitHub Codespaces because it's right here. And I'm going to create a new code space. You got to get your developer environment working however you want. Okay. And just to be cool, because we're the cool kids, we're going to switch this over to dark mode whenever it decides to let us choose our modes. And yeah, I don't know, just for writing code, I have to use dark mode. But we'll go over to here, and so we have our main TF, and so we're going to need to get Terraform installed on here. So let's go take a look here. Install Terraform Ubuntu, because that's what we're using right now. And it should be pretty easy. Linux. I don't know if we need all of these commands, but it seems to think that we do. Security systems up to date. Well, we're using a cloud environment, so I don't think that's necessary. We do need to use the HashiCorp GPG, so we'll definitely grab that. Okay. And I'm gonna, while I'm doing this, I'll make the instructions, because you never know when you have to come back and do this stuff again. So this will be the first thing we do. And you don't have to turn on Vim keys, but if I don't turn on Vim, my life is miserable. Okay. If you don't know what Vim is and you don't know how to use Vim keys, do not turn that on. This just makes it so it's easier for me to type. So this will be install Terraform. Okay. And I will go back over to here, and yeah, we're going to run these step by step. So hopefully it works. I'll paste that in down below. There probably is a way to install this like really quickly in GitHub Codespaces, but I want to show you the general way of doing it, so I don't want to add any kind of complications to it. Okay, we'll paste that in. Okay, I can also grab this page just in case you folks do not know where it is. And yeah, so we have the fingerprint, add the official repository here, good. I don't remember it being so many commands before, but I guess it depends on what you're using, right? Like if you're using a Mac, it's probably just brew install or something. And then we will do an update. It's not too bad. Sudo apt update. And then we'll run this line here. The repository does not have a release file. Cannot be done securely by default. I'm not sure if this will be a problem, but we'll find out in just a moment. As long as it installs, I don't care. It says it's installed. We'll type in Terraform. Or TF, sorry. Or Terraform. It says it installed. They're not unable to locate the package. So we do have a little bit of a problem. And again, this is 90% cloud, just figuring out problems. So what is our problem here? We have this step here. Yeah, it does not have a release file. Okay. So I mean that's not very helpful. Just a moment. So yeah, as I said, there is another way that we can probably install it, and that's using dev container. Now I've installed on GitHub Codespaces and Gitpod many times. I'm surprised it's not working right now. There's a problem from people from 2022 that's really old. But to solve it is not clear. Just found out the solution works for me. Try installing Debian releases called Trixie. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So maybe what we'll do is use this way of doing it. If it's installed for you, then you're in good shape. But for me, it's not. So here, what's being suggested is open up the dev container configuration. So we'll go over to back to our repo here in Codespaces. And they make it look like I can change my dev config here. Sure doesn't look that way though. If we go up to here, here it is. Okay, and so here they're suggesting we add in this code, I believe, under features. I know it's really small, that's why I'm saying it out loud as I do it. And yeah. And the question is like, how old is this one? Because see, it says Terraform 1, and then over here, when was this article made? Last year, so it probably is fine. I really like the idea of GitHub Codespaces as a cloud-based environment, et cetera, et cetera. So they're suggesting that this might work. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because we haven't really done anything in this environment, I'm going to, well, this is the github.dev. By the way, you got to be logged in to use all this stuff if you don't already know that. So I'm over here, and we have this. We'll go ahead and add that. So update instructions. I'm gonna need to rebuild this environment. So I believe we go to command palette. I don't know what it is. Rebuild. Rebuild container. Sounds good to me. So we'll have it rebuild. I'm doing a slow rebuild, and then we'll see if Terraform is already installed. We'll be back in just a moment, okay? All right, so I believe it's restarted. Let's go take a look here and see if we have Terraform now. Of course we don't. Of course we don't. Why would we get what we want, right? I actually didn't even sync these changes. So what I'm gonna do, just to really make sure this actually gets installed, and the other question, did I even save this? No, I didn't. So how's it gonna, what was the point of that rebuild if I didn't do that? So I'll try this one more time. We'll rebuild the container one more time. Took forever. But maybe this time. Oh, don't tell me it's that fast. Because last time I was waiting forever. Oh, okay, it's fast, I guess, now. And so I'm doing this, I'm not seeing that there. So I don't trust this. I'm gonna go back to the repo here, and this is now the dev container over here. And just because I don't trust GitHub Codespaces, I'm gonna go ahead and delete it, and we'll make a new one. I used to love Gitpod, but Gitpod, they've been retiring their original service, and so I've been kind of staying away from there just in case, so people don't get comfortable with a really good service that they decided not to do anymore. So, I mean, they have a new way of working, but I haven't tried it yet. So this is going to spin up, and then we'll check if Terraform is installed. All right, we're back. Says the code space is currently running in recovery mode due to configuration error. What's wrong with my configuration error? Or my configuration, it's pretty darn straightforward, right? So we'll go back over to here, and I guess it didn't like what I did. I'm gonna just click back to get back to it quickly. Or not, I suppose we can just edit the file manually here. And what could be wrong here? We have a comma here, we have the feature here, it looks fine. So dev containers. GitHub Codespaces. Doesn't matter what we do, we're gonna have trouble no matter what we do. But once we get that set up, we'll be in good shape because I'm sure we will end up using Terraform more. See, here they have all the steps. So this is the way they did it. I mean, we could also just do it that way. You know, there's another thing that we can do. It's been a while, but we do use, let's see here, free GenAI Bootcamp. No, not the GenAI Bootcamp. If we go into here, and I should have a repo, because I've done this so many times, but we have the AWS Bootcamp from 2023. I should have in here an installation script for Terraform. Okay. And so, yeah, we have dev container. Let's check this one. And this one specifies the AWS CLI as a tool. And so that one looks correct. But I might also have in here the instructions. Maybe not. I was hoping maybe I have the instructions here to install. I do have a Gitpod YAML. So I do have one for Gitpod, but we're not using Gitpod, right? So yeah, this might still not work. So we really do need to figure out how to get that features there. Let's go over to here. See features, dev container, because there is a way to install them directly in here. But since it's in this debug mode, this is github.dev. That's not the same thing. That's not going to help us. Let's see if we can find it this way. We'll type in Terraform. And yeah, we have this one here. Let's go back over to here. Let's make sure that is correct. It's totally fine. Oh, you know what it is? We have doubles of these. This is our problem. So we have some extra copy going on here that's not supposed to be here. So we'll go ahead and take that out. And so that will probably fix our problem. Okay, let's go ahead and commit that. So now I'm hoping that that will fix our problem here. I know, again, huge detour. And I'll just close that tab out. We'll go back over to here. And if there is one running, we will stop it. We'll go ahead and delete it. And this time we'll create a new code space. But once we have Terraform set up, I'm sure we'll come back to it and use it again. So I don't think this is a waste of time. Okay. We'll give that a moment to spin up, okay? There we go. Supposedly it's activated. Let's go type in Terraform. If it ever decides, there we go. TF, Terraform. I don't know. I don't know what it wants to work. One second. So I know there's another way to install these, which is through the command palette. So modify your active permissions. That might be one we might want to do here. I'm doing Command P, by the way, to bring that up. It's just this command palette. I'm actually hitting Command. Yeah, there we go. So modify. Say dev container, feature, dev container. Sure. Modify. And so now we have checkboxes. So now I can go here and just type in Terraform. Right? And it's checkboxed, right? So what else would it need for this to work? It clearly is installed. So we'll go ahead and type this again, Terraform. All right, 1 second. I really don't think I should have to do this, but I'm going to do a rebuild, which seems excessive, but I'm hitting Control-Shift-P, by the way, when I do that. So we'll try this again. We'll do a rebuild. And I'm going to do a full rebuild. And let's hope that Terraform shows up now. All right, let's take a look now. Terraform. There we go. Okay, so I know that was a lot of work, but we are close to getting something set up here. So we have our main.tf. There's a little bit more work that we need to do, as we need a way of actually connecting to our account. So obviously there are some configurations that we'll need to do. I'm going to just make this a bit larger, and I'm going to go back and get my Vim command here. Again, don't install this unless you know what you're doing and you want Vim. We'll go over our themes. We'll change our color. We'll go to dark mode. And what I'm going to do here is I need a way of storing the variables. So it's been a while. I mean, it's vars.tf or something. Variables vars tf Terraform. Yeah, it is variables tf. Well, no, there's variables tf. Tf vars is what I'm thinking. There, tf vars actually stores the values. So we will go back over to, whoa, where did we go? Allow. And so here we have these variables here, right? So normally these would be separated out into a separate file. So this would be variables TF, I believe. Okay, and then we'll place that there. So we have the number here, and that there. So now we actually need to load this up with a value. So I think maybe like, was it main.tfvars? It's been a while. Let's go take a look here. Just a moment. Oh, we actually already have it over here. Okay, so yeah, here. Oh yeah, it's Terraform TFVars. I don't think that the name here matters. I can't remember if it does or not, but I was gonna name it main. So we'll just make sure that we name it correctly here. There we go. And so now we can provide our values. So we'll go back over to here. Yeah, it's just project ID like that. So do that. And then the next thing I need is the name of this. So this is GCP Playground, but that's not its ID, as this is actual its ID, right? So we'll go ahead and copy that. We'll make our way back over to here. We're going to select this. We're going to paste this in here. And there we go. So now that should be set up. We'll do Terraform init. It says the directory has no, well, we got to cd into the correct directory. There we go. We'll say Terraform init again. Terraform has been successfully initialized, so that is good. What is next? I don't think we could do a Terraform apply, but let's try it anyway, because we don't have any credentials set up, right? So how is it going to know how to deploy? There we go. Attempted to load, but there are no credentials. And so there are a few different ways of getting credentials in. At least that's what I recall. Let's take a look here, over here, and see what it says. Okay, so how do I load Terraform credentials for GCP? We'll see what it comes up with. Actually, Terraform, getting information for that is the worst for Terraform, just because, again, it's documentation, lack of documentation, and this is due to GCP's fault for not providing it. But we'll go over to here, because generally what you can do is go check the provider information. Not over here, but we'll say Terraform provider GCP. We'll try this again. And we'll go over to here. And so it should be providers. And we go to GCP. And we go to documentation. And here it should tell us how to do it. Sometimes it's in the top part of this guide. And usually it's in this part here. But we're looking for that information for credentials. So where are you? It used to be right here. Or here. They do not. I just want to show you I'm not crazy. Like if you go over to other providers like AWS and documentation, the first thing they normally tell you is authentication configuration, right? Same thing with Azure. But we go over to GCP, you'd expect that to be there, but it's not. Which is fine. So we will try to leverage Claude to get help here today. So create a service account, yes. Grant permissions, download the key, set the environment. Yeah, it is really that involved. Method 2, application default credentials recommended for local development. I mean, we're developing in a cloud environment. So maybe we can do this Google Auth login. It's usually hard to log in when you're in a cloud environment. We can try it. We don't have gcloud installed, so we might have to get that installed. Let's go over to here and see if we can even do that. Control-Shift-P, and it was dev containers. Okay, modify, gcloud. And so here we have gcloud CLI. What's the difference between these two? I don't know. So I guess I'll go with this one. It'd be nice if there was an official one. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And I'm just going to go ahead and just, I don't want to really save all this stuff in here. So I need a git ignore for Terraform. So say git ignore Terraform. Usually GitHub will have one for us. Not exactly. So we'll take this one from Spacelift. They're OK. And we will go back over to here. I'll make a new git ignore just in this directory here, okay? because I just want to say this before I do a rebuild. And okay, we want to add that first. Update get ignore. Okay. And now if it wants to add any of these files, then it's fine, right? So, but I mean, TFRs is, I mean, that's not sensitive information, but it could be sensitive information. I don't want 1Password here. Let's close that out there. And so I'm going to go ahead and just say update. I think that's fine what we have in here. If it's not, we'll figure it out as we go. Let's go ahead and try this again. So Control Shift P. We want to, add to there, modify to there. We'll type in GCP or G Cloud. CLI, install it. We'll hit OK. Keep defaults. And rebuild now. So we're going to rebuild that. And so we'll have to do a full rebuild, I think. We'll be back in just a moment, okay? All right, we are back. And we should now have G Cloud. Let's see if it's here. It is. Okay, so let's try a G Cloud login. I think it's G Cloud auth login. It's been a little while, but. And so here it's suggesting to follow a link. Once you finish this, we'll bring in the browser. So I'm going to just hold Control and click. It will say open, and maybe this will be really easy to connect. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's easy. And so here, it says we should have done that, right? We'll go ahead and copy this. It's totally fine. And I'm just going to paste that in there and hit enter. You are now logged in. So now we are in good shape. Your current project is none, so we can set it, but technically we have set it over here in our in this file here, so I'm not really worried about it. And this is not really a secret, so I'm not worried about that either. So let's go ahead and see if we can now deploy. It's defaulted to 24, so we should be in good shape here. So I'm going to type in Terraform apply. And it says no configuration found. Applies require configuration to be present. Applying without configuration would mark everything for destruction, which is normally not what you want to desire. If you would like to destroy everything, well, I'm not trying to destroy anything, but I'm not sure why. Oh, you know what? I'm not in the right folder. And we'll do Terraform init because we need to do this. Oh, Terraform should be here. Oh, you know what? You got to type it right for it to work. There we go. Terraform apply. I usually will abbreviate Terraform to TFs so I don't get it wrong. And here it's worried about credentials. We'll go over to here, take a look. Could not find default credentials. So we'll go ahead and grab this link here. See if this helps at all. Local developer environment. If you're using local shell, use your credentials. So I'm just trying to decide what's the easiest way to do this. I guess we could do gcloud init and see what happens. But I thought we're logged in, so I figured it would just work at this point. Let's go ahead and try this. No, see, we don't need, I'll hit 1. Yeah, because we're logged in, so I don't feel like we need to reinitialize any of this. Pick your project to use, so we'll do number 2 here. No, I don't care what zone it is. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. 1 second, let's go take a look here. So I know sometimes we end up having to download a key to verify stuff, but it says the credentials field in the provider config expects a path to service account key, not the account credentials. If you want to authenticate with your user account, try omitting credentials and running gcloud application default login if Terraform doesn't find your credentials. I suppose we could try that. Explicitly advised against using application default login. This approach isn't recommended. Some APIs are not compatible with credentials obtained through gcloud. For almost all cases, whether you're deploying locally or in production applications, you should use service accounts rather than accounts or API keys. So they're insisting that we use service accounts, which is fine. I always forget how to do this in GCP, but we will stumble our way through it. And we'll just reject this. We don't care about that. And I think I've been running machines in the background here because we're going to launch up 24. So I want to get the ones that we have here out of the way. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to go and delete these, which is fine. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make my way over to, what am I making my way over to? Service accounts. Service accounts, there we go. And so we have this developer one here for compute engine, but we'll go ahead and make a new service account. And again, I always forget how these work, so one second, let's look it up. Well, we did have the steps up here, right? Service account file key recommended. So here, description, display name. This is probably the easier way to do it, I suppose. So maybe we'll just completely skip this interface here and just go over to Cloud Shell, authorize, and let's see if that works. Once it decides to connect. So create service account. Yeah, that's what we want. So we'll go ahead. And it's set as this default project. Make sure you check what projects you're in as this is working. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. And so now we have a service account created. Let's go over to service account, see what it looks like. Is it in here? Well, at least we know we've created one, but where it is another question. Let's give this a hard refresh. Sometimes giving a hard refresh might help. There it is. Okay, great. So you can see it named it. So probably description, display name. So we type, let's look down here, let's type in Terraform. Yeah, so it would have been whatever's in the prereq here. And so if we go back, yeah, so we would just put in Terraform SA and that would have done that. So now what's the next step? Probably to get the keys, grant it permissions. Service account, instance admin, account user. Sure, I suppose we can do that. Is this too permissive? I don't know, seems fine to me. I mean, we do want to get access to compute, so that makes sense. And we probably do need access to IAM, so that also makes sense. So that is probably fine. So I'm going to grab these here because obviously you might not have these, as you might not want to have to copy and paste them in. So I'm going to go over to here into our README here. And we'll go ahead and we'll just do this. We'll bring that over. And I think these are fine. The only thing that's kind of annoying is that we have to replace our project ID here. So there's probably a environment variable set up, env grep project. So here they have Google Cloud Project ID like this, right? So that is definitely a more convenient way to grab it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that here. And I'm going to go back over to here. And I'm just going to swap this out because, again, I'm just trying to make this easier. Google Cloud Project. Okay, so in theory, this should, I don't like how long that name is, but I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to export it this one time. And we've already done this one, so let's see if we can run this one next. Hopefully it just works. Paste. Well, we're doing this in, hold on. We're not doing it here, we're doing it over here, right? Paste. It is not being cooperative here today. Right-click copy. Sometimes you got to do a lot of right-clicking. There we go. And that worked. Okay, good. Or it looks like it worked. We'll go ahead and copy this. We'll paste that in next. We'll hit enter. Okay, we have that. The next thing we need is our key. So we'll go and grab this. Okay. Now, we actually need to download this into this machine here. we should be able to do it. So here, good thing I actually set that env here earlier. I'm not sure if I actually set that that one there. I think I just picked up the project inherently. Let's go ahead and see if we can just download in here because we are authorized over here, so it should just work. Please, please, please. It did or it didn't? Let's go refresh this. I can't tell. Let's go over to here. I don't see anything committed in here, so it makes me think. Maybe it did. Oh yeah, it went right here. So home code spaces Terraform key JSON. So it actually did download it. Is that where we want it to be? I don't know. So now that we have the key downloaded. Oh, yeah. Okay, and then we set it this way. That makes sense. Yep. So then it doesn't really matter where it goes as long as it goes to the place that we want. So download it to the home directory, which is fine. This is not obviously, well, actually will persist if we restart this machine. But this should, in theory, get us over that hump. So I'm going to go ahead and just say update. Okay, we'll sync those changes. Let's now go ahead. Whoops. Let's go now ahead and see if we can do a Terraform apply. All this work to get Terraform working. And has no file or directory. So it's suggesting that's not working. I'm going to see if I can cat this out. So it is there, right? But it might want the full path. So I'm going to do pwd. And, well, I'll do pwd on this here like that. That's not going to work. I thought that would expand it. Okay, so we'll do that. So it's home code spaces. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get rid of that. I don't know if this is the problem, but we'll go ahead and just take that out like this. And then we will paste it in like this. We will go back to our workspace directory. What a hard, all the other videos are not going to be this hard. It's just, this task just happens to be hard. Okay. We'll go ahead and hit enter here. And so now it's saying like, okay, yeah, we're going to set this up and these are all the instances that we're going to make. All right. And where are they going to deploy this? 24. So again, if you're not comfortable deploying 24, that's totally fine. I'm comfortable doing this. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to see us hit that quota limit. All that roundabout stuff to do that, eh? You might ask like, Andrew, why don't you go back and edit your videos and make it more straightforward? Because I think this is part of the learning process, showing this stuff. Some of them I actually do, but some of them I'm not going to go back and edit because, some of these things I see and I think that they should be included. So this is going to go ahead and deploy 24 instances, which is totally in our quota to do so. And we're going to find out here shortly, once it's done, if that's working there. But now we have Terraform set up because the way you deploy to GCP is with Terraform. There is a native solution for GCP, but nobody uses it. They use Terraform. So we'll give that a moment to finish, okay? All right, so it didn't take really long for that to spin up. Let's go take a look now over here in our quotas, which we've been keeping this diligently open this entire time. Let's give it a hard refresh. And let's see if we are at our max quota. They're at 100% utilization. So what would happen if we tipped that over just by 1? So I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to go into our, I think it's TFRs, and we want to change the number in here so it's a little bit larger. So I cannot remember, what is the variable name, but we will go find it here in just a moment. It is called, it's under variables. What am I doing? It's over here. So we have instance count. So we're going to go ahead and change this now to 25. And let's see how that takes. So we'll go ahead, we'll type in Terraform apply. Our expectation is this is going to fail, right? Because it can't add another instance. And we just want to see what kind of error we get. We could also do it through the console and find out. And we can do that for fun too. So it says error waiting, for instance, quota CPUs exceeded. So now we're seeing that information there. And that's totally fine. Let's go over to EC2 EC2 Compute Engine. Sorry, too many clouds for me. We'll go over to the Compute Engine here, and we'll go ahead and launch a new instance. And my expectation is this is not going to work. So we'll go here and I will just choose the micro as we're just trying to be cost effective. And my expectation is this will not launch. But again, we want to observe, we want to see what this looks like. This is how we get our experience by actually doing. And there we go. So we hover over, it says, no, you're not allowed to do this. So we've learned that if we want to increase that, there should be a quota increase somewhere. So let's go back to quotas. Okay. And so increase requests. So that has to obviously go somewhere. Increase request. Some things are at the organizational level. So now we're at our org level here. Okay, so give me a moment to find it. So here it's saying, in most cases, increased adjustments must be made at the project level. Limited number of products support organizational level quota changes. Okay, I thought it had been the organizational level. So go here. Okay, maybe we have to just click into it. All right, so wherever that was before, we're going to go back into name. Let's say instances. Instance. VM instances, maybe? Nope. And I think it's because now we're at the organizational level. Let's go back to our project level. And this one's now on top because I guess it's exacerbated. So we'll go into here. And so we're in here. Where do we increase the limit? Sure, checkbox it. Okay, well, we've hit the limit. Can we increase it? Maybe over here. Edit quota. And let's see if we can do, so it says here, enter new value, above 24 will require approval for your service provider. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do 25. I am teaching GCP to students, and I'm showing them how to make a quota increase. Okay, done. I guess we have summary there next. I'm not putting my phone number in. We'll go ahead and do that. And so here you can see whether they will take that increase or not. If they don't, I don't care. That's obviously for demonstrations. Let's make our way back over to here. We want to get rid of all these instances here. So I'm going to say Terraform destroy. You got to type it right if you want it to work. We'll give that a moment. So now it is working to destroy those. We're going to wait a little bit. But yeah, a long video for such a short thing, but I think it was worth our time. Here we just need a confirmation. Say yes. There it goes. We'll wait for those to destroy. All right, there we go. Our resources are destroyed, and I don't think there's anything sensitive in here. Do I want to be storing? No, TF state file. Like, do we want to store TF state files? I always forget. Do TF state files go in repo? I don't think they do. Yeah, because it can have sensitive information. You generally do not want to commit them. Yeah, and so what I'm going to do, just because this really shouldn't be in here, we'll go ahead and the thing is that as long as we don't get rid of this environment, it's fine, but we should be managing our state somewhere, and we're simply not right now. And so I'm going to just ignore both these files here. There's nothing like sensitive in here that would cause any problems, but I'm going to go ahead just to git remove. I don't think I've committed them, but in case I have, we'll go ahead and just say git remove Terraform TF state. Okay, so maybe it hasn't been added, so that's fine. Okay, great. And so yeah, if you want to follow along there, but obviously that was very roundabout, but we will come back and use Terraform at some other point. So having this set up early on is going to be great for us. Ciao, ciao.